What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Mets Postgame Show right here on both of our channels and on X. Mets fans, what the hell just happened? I know we were ready for the most negative postgame up until this point, and the New York Mets, Francisco Lindor. I don't care about the score. I typed it in. I messed it up. It doesn't matter. The bottom's right. The whole point is MVP Lindor. 0-2 pitch, hits it over the right field wall, ties the ball game, blows the no-hitter, and then the Mets just went crazy. Couple of walks, couple of hits. Pete Alonso with a smart at-bat, not trying to do too much, gets the sac fly to give the Mets the lead. Mets add on another run, and then Francisco Alvarez, 3-run bomb to center field, gives the Mets a 6-run ninth inning. Come out in the bottom of the ninth, get the job done. Little scary, but they get the job done. Chris, how are you feeling?
Woo. Spam those W's. Spam them. Please, everybody. Wow. Unbelievable. In the span of a second, as soon as Francisco Lindor hit that game-tying home run, everybody's mood changed. My mood changed. I know your mood changed. And I know everybody in the chat's mood changed. Thank you all for being here with us. And as you see in the live chat poll on my channel, MILF, man, I love Francisco Lindor. That is an MVP winner right there. Give him the MVP. Give him the MVP. And how crazy is it that that is the second time, right, in the span of what, a week and a half, 2 weeks for Francis Bowden, that he had his no-hitter broken up in the ninth inning by the leadoff batter in that ninth inning. Absolutely unreal. This is why we play 9 innings of baseball. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I understand that we were kind of a little bit negative in the pregame. We were telling you all that we didn't believe in this offense, and it only took them 8 innings of baseball to come through. But you know what? This is exactly what magical seasons are made of, ladies and gentlemen. When you have a special team, and when you have a team that is kind of like it's destiny almost, right? This is what happens. These types of games happen. So I'm freaking amped. I hope the chat is amped, and I appreciate you all being here. Obviously, please, all that fun stuff, all the promos, like, thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here, if you're catching the replay. Love you all. Love Mets fans. Let's celebrate this win. And how damn good does it feel, Rob, to ride into the off-day high?
Oh, man, listen, it was, I mean, it was just, it's an amazing feeling. Listen, this is what the New York Mets do to us. The roller coaster of emotions, right? Not only will we lose the series, not only did we not hit in the series if we would have lost, but it would have been probably, it felt like it was going to be rock bottom. Like, this is the worst series to lose. The way we played, we didn't deserve to win this series. And out of nowhere, with Lindor's home, I tell you, the group chat went crazy. Everybody just went nuts in the group chat. It was insane. X went crazy with Met fans. Everywhere you go on social media, Met fans are going absolutely crazy. And guess what? This is the game we're going to talk about. I thought about this. Gary Cohen said it on the broadcast. This is the game that we're going to look back to if the Mets make the playoffs and possibly go on a run. This is the game we're going to go back to where things were spiraling out of control, slowly but surely, and with one swing in a bat, turned the whole game around and possibly turned the rest of the last 16 games of the season around. This is the 5 days in Flushing moment, similar to Wilmer Flores' walk-off right after he cried. That like, it feels that way. Now, it was more on-field emotions with that, but this is the game where we're going to look back on and say, this was the game where we go on that run, where they make the playoffs, Chris. That's the way I feel right now. Maybe it's 20 seconds after the game's over and that's my emotion, but that's the way I feel. And this should boost the whole confidence to this team. And you get an off day tomorrow, which is great. You come back home. I'm sorry. We go to Philly. Excuse me. We go to Philly.
Go to Philly. Yep.
In high after this game. This was so needed because we know the talk of the town. If the Mets would have lost this game and this series and the way they played in this series, we took 2 out of 3 by playing hot garbage. Let's be real about this. We had one good inning this whole series, and it was the 9th inning, the 6-run 9th inning. Alvarez, man, was that huge. His first home run since August 19th. August 19th. Basically nearly just under a month without him hitting a home run.
Let's hope that gets him going, Rob.
Oh, man. How about if it gets Alonso going? Because you seen the sigh of relief out of it. Seriously, the sigh of relief, even he was clapping for himself. He's like, oh, shit, look what I did. All right. Let's go. Everybody, let's go. Alonso, Alvarez. And what about Eddie Alvarez? That's another big deal that people are not going to talk about enough, Chris. 2 times in this series since he's come up was his speed got home on throws at home, and he beat it out twice in this series. That's speed right there. And again, little things like that are not going to be talked about. It's not going to be in the box score, but we're talking about it. So I want to bring that up in the chat because that is a huge, huge play because that was the go-ahead run. Like, it's amazing that little things like that are just bringing everything out in this game.
Yeah, again, everybody contributes. I think the common consensus, right, amongst everybody when Eddie Alvarez first got traded for and then brought up was that he was going to have some sort of late game contribution, whether he was going to go in for defense or definitely that pinch running situation that we saw Pablo Reyes kind of in before he got DFA'd. So that's absolutely huge, 100%. But man, I want to take a minute, right? Obviously, we know the Francisco Lindor home run is huge. Listen, for him to do that, right? For him to do that on an 0-2 pitch, they were trying to get him to chase with the fastball up, and Bowden Francis, by the way, tip your cap, salute to Bowden Francis. I know Sean Manaea did so in the dugout, and they kind of had an exchange from either dugout. That is the ultimate respect because he had everything going on. Everything we said in the pregame show ended up coming to real life, and it came out in terms of the pitch arsenal. Now, obviously, they're trying to extend him, right? But you saw how nasty he was in terms of the location and the splitter that was working for him all game long. Francisco Lindor, massive. The fact that he did that to tie the game up, no doubter, 0-2 pitch, does not miss a mistake, right? Do you know how crazy that is for a hitter? You are being no hit and you are down 0-2 and you are now at the mercy of the opposing pitcher who's got everything working at that point in the game. Like nobody could touch him and he's got everything working at that point in the game. Yes, the Mets had a couple of balls that were roped. One was also by Francisco Lindor a couple of innings prior. JD Martinez, Brandon Nimmo. A couple of people did smoke some baseballs off of Bowden Francis. But the fact that Francisco Lindor got a mistake pitch and he did not miss it, that is fantastic. So hard to do. And guess what? He goes back out there and plays shortstop, right? When you talk about the MVP, he goes out there and plays defense, and he's not in the dugout watching his teammates go play defense. That's awesome. That's what an MVP is all about. But let's talk about Pete Alonso because my goodness, when it was time to scratch home that run, right? And you saw Pete Alonso on like 0-1 take a terrible cut that was outside, that was off the plate. I was like already shaking my head. Oh no, not again. Here we go again. You know he did? He took a couple of tough pitches as well for right after that. He learned, he made an in-game adjustment, an in-at-bat adjustment, and he went out there and drove the ball to right field, right? Because the Mets were driving the ball to, I believe, what was his name in right field? He had at least like 10 putouts today, it seemed like. It doesn't really matter what his last name is.
Hard. It was just right at people for the most part today.
Exactly. And what did Pete Alonso do? He took it where it was pitched, right? An even count, I believe it was 2-2 at that point, and he goes out there and scratches that run home. How many times this season, when we talk about failed situational hitting with runners in scoring position, especially with less than 2 outs, right? About guys not doing a job and just simply putting the ball in the air for a sac fly. I know that this is underrated, and we're here, and the thumbnail, my thumbnail, and everything else is related around Francisco Lindor, but that at bat, right? For that, I guess that was the go-ahead run at the time, right? If I'm not mistaken, with Pete
Pete
Alonso.
Alonso sack?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was the
it was.
go-ahead. That was the go-ahead run. To bring that run home, right? With as bad as a hack, like as a cut that he took on that 0-1 slider is absolutely tremendous. And I know we crap on him all the time for such a failed season, but that is what a true professional does. He makes in at-bat adjustments, and he brings that run home. Thank you, Pete Alonso. I love to see that approach.
Absolutely. And that was the thing too. Look, the approach at the plate, look, he took terrible swings in that at bat. But you know what? You saw, you know, a couple of pitches before that sac fly, you seen him compose himself. Like that's what I want. And not only did he get the sac fly, he hit it to the opposite field. Right? You know, if he would have pulled the ball and it was a sac fly, you could see that he's still not right. But that ball, he was balanced at the plate and he took the ball to right field. Like that was the situation that we want to see from Pete Alonso, not just a sac fly, but that is the approach I want to see. You're struggling. Stop trying to hit the ball to left field. Stop pulling off. Get the ball to center and right. Start hitting that ball to center and right. And you get the lead run, and just like that, like the floodgates open. Like it's amazing. This is why baseball is the best sport. I don't care if people think it's not the best sport, it's a boring sport. This is why baseball is the best sport. You don't get this type of feeling and turnaround so quickly after getting no hit for 8 innings, and Lindor hits that home run, and it's a trickle down effect. Only baseball has that chemistry, that confidence that just trickles down in a lineup in the same inning when you look like you had the worst at bats of the. I mean, you were going to get no hit with 17 games to go. Like that's how quickly things turn around. And I mean, there's nothing else. Great job by Pete Alonso. That was, even though he didn't do major damage in that at bat, that was a solid at bat for Pete Alonso. But man, could we go back to Francisco Lindor? Because when he hit that ball, there was no screaming at the dugout, no emotion, except just a confidence, straight face running around those bases. And then he went nuts in the dugout. But that is, if that is not an MVP, and I'm going to say it here with over 150 in the stream right now, today on September 11th, one of the worst days in this country's history. Writers, pay attention when you make your vote for MVP. Lindor deserves it. This team would be garbage nowhere if it wasn't for this guy. This guy has been outstanding. He's been clutch. And what's even better, he's doing this at the end of the season. Because if he did a lot of this earlier, writers might forget a little bit and just point to Ohtani. But because he's doing it so late in the season, you might turn some votes. And I know it's election season, so let's try to turn some votes to Francisco Lindor, because this guy has been absolutely money. Every penny he got on that contract, he deserves. This guy has been outstanding, Chris. Holy crap, how good he's been.
Yeah, no, I mean it's something where on both sides of the ball you can expect just an unreal type of play from your captain, right? Or he's basically the captain at this point. It doesn't really matter, right? If he got the official C or whatnot, he's the captain. By example, about what he did today and what he's done all season. Again, what did we say in the pregame, Rob? What did we say in the pregame? There's not one other player that we feel like on this team that can carry this team on their backs the way that Francisco Lindor does, and he showed it. He backed us up in what we said in the pregame. He absolutely showed it today, right? And I just think about where this team would be at, right? And I said this in a tweet, like this team might be in the gutter, right? They certainly would not be in this position had Francisco Lindor not stepped up on the field and went on that insane run. Again, this team is absolutely a unit together, combined, but without the services of Francisco Lindor and what he's done in this MVP caliber season, dude, like
Yep.
that's MVP-esque right there. That is the true definition of an MVP when I think about it. I don't care what the criteria is for these writers. I don't care about the bias that they may or may not have against the New York Mets. When it comes time to vote, like you said, Rob,
Yep.
you think about a game like today. You think about a game today.
Absolutely. And one of my long-time subscribers, Stezo, let Ohtani get NL MVP and let Lindor get the World Series MVP. I like the way you think, Stezo. That's what I'm talking about. The hell with the NL MVP. Give him the World Series MVP. But shout out to the chat right now. Everybody's just going crazy. I mean, we got right now over 160 on my channel right now with X in insane post game. And listen, everybody join in because this is what it's all about, right? These are the moments that we wait for in a season, right? These are the games we're going to talk about if the Mets go on a run. How many games did we talk about in 2015 when the Mets went on that World Series run? Right? So many games. They made a documentary. We all know about 5 days in Flushing. I brought it up earlier in the stream. These are moments that put a team in another stratosphere. Remember when we talk about this? There's another level to this team. This might be a game that puts us on to that next level. This might get Pete Alonso going. This might get Francisco Alvarez going. And it all started with Francisco Lindor. You're going to track back to Alonso possibly getting going and Alvarez possibly getting going because of what Lindor did in the top of the ninth on an 0-2 pitch when he looked bad on those first two pitches and he's swinging terribly at one of those splitters, those split fastballs, and he destroyed that mistake. And it just, again, this is the whole idea about when people talk about making a wild card and not being good enough or anything like that. You just never know, because I can tell you this. I was ready to come on this team and call them dead when the ninth inning was starting. Like,
as was I. I think everybody was.
God, like, I was just like this can't happen. And it's not about losing the series, because you lose a series, it's bad. But losing a series the way we've played in this series with the errors and the lack of offense and with our starters, with David Peterson not pitching well, Minaya had an excellent performance. We didn't even talk about him yet. But
I was just getting ready to transition to Minaya.
Like, we all got pumped up for the offense, but Sean Minaya, held it to 1 run along with the bullpen. So, like, it was just, it's crazy. Because I was ready to be like, you know what? They're going to hurt themselves and they're going to blow this. They're really going to blow this. Because this was probably the worst series they've played in a while. And to lose this series, or possibly lose this series, and the way they played, I think it was the nail in the coffin, to be quite honest with you. Because you saw the faces in that dugout going into that ninth inning. They were all on the top step, but they didn't. They looked like a lost dog. Like, seriously, that's the way they look.
First thing I want to say is back your sentiment about everyone joining us for this post game, whether you're watching live in the chat on Rob's channel or on my channel. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. We definitely appreciate you all being here. We do this for you all. And we're reading as these chat comments are coming in. I'm reading every single chat right now. And it's just great discourse, and the vibes are up right now. So please hit the thumbs up. Again, subscribe to the channel. We will be here. I just told you all, this type of game is the making of a magical season, and the magic is not going to run out. Let's knock on some wood here, but I'm pretty confident the magic's not going to run out. And so subscribe, because we will be here more often than not for the rest of the way. And I can promise you that for the pre-games, for the post-games, maybe even some in-game live streams as well with Pure Adrenaline Sports over there in the chat. Make sure you subscribe to John over there. Does a great job. Guys, this is a game where, again, you look back on and you reflect, right? Should the Mets get into the playoffs and be like, this trajectory of this team could have went complete 180, right? If that game had went final with the score being 1-0. Now, let's talk about Sean Manaea. Please, let's talk about Sean Manaea, because this guy, for what he's done all season long, has been absolutely spectacular, and really, along with Luis Severino, the anchor of this rotation. I know David Peterson struggled yesterday. He came a little bit onto the scene later because he started off on the IL, David Peterson, that is. But Sean Manaea, really, after taking a look at what he did in the second half for the Giants last season, out of the bullpen to make that transition back to a starting pitcher after going to the pitching lab. You saw in the offseason gaining some velocity on the fastball. This is what David Stearns, this product that Sean Manaea has delivered consistently down the stretch of the season, is exactly what David Stearns saw as a vision when he signed him to that 2-year deal to opt out after the first. Again, he got into a little bit of trouble there. He gave up his only run of the game in that 4th inning. He settled down nicely, and he just kept on retiring batters and just kept on working and working and working. Everything was working for Sean Manaea. And my favorite was when the booth was talking about his I guess pre-game routine, now that he has this new delivery, right? This Chris Sale-esque delivery. And again, I dropped his mechanics and I dropped his mechanical changes on my YouTube. I broke it down. There's a video on my YouTube. Go check it out. It's very pronounced, right? From what he was doing early in the season to now. And the fact that he goes out there and has the warm-up catcher lining up on the opposite plate because he's coming more so across his body, but I don't want to say across his body, but he's stepping towards that opposite batter's box, that lefty batter's box. This is something that, to make that kind of adjustment in season and reap the benefits of it and turn the season completely 180 into an inevitable monster contract that he is now going to get in comparison to what he got this offseason is just a testament to his hard work. We've all seen the great stories of Sean Manaea, obviously with Hector's softball team and playing catch with them in Central Park. Obviously, there was an article just released about how much he really enjoys playing in New York. When I think about Sean Manaea, right, Rob? You can still hear me. I'm making sure my mic's not going.
Yeah, you're good.
Just making sure. When I think about Sean Manaea, I've transitioned from the point of thinking about Sean Manaea for just his on-field performance, because that's already fantastic. But I look at a guy that's been struggling to find a home in terms of after his career after Oakland. You talk about San Diego, you talk about San Francisco as well, where he's kind of bounced back and forth. He is bought into New York. And we talked about an offseason and kind of questioning ourselves in this organization about, do players really want to come here and play for the New York Mets? Sean Manaea has embraced everything in terms of what it means, right, to be a New York Met and to take pride in it. And for that, I got to salute Sean Manaea and just give him a round of applause. Absolutely. That is fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. And, you talking about that, and this gives a ton of credit, and players around the league see this. Ton of credit to Steve Cohen, David Stearns, those guys, the two main guys in this organization, for changing what was a disastrous look and feel of this organization just last year, with trading big-time pitching veterans and selling at the deadline last year and getting prospects, and people calling David Stearns small market Stearns, and Steve Cohen, and fake Steve Cohen, and his money means nothing. Nobody wants to come here. See how quickly things change. A guy like Severino, who, let's be honest, a guy could have been looking, out of baseball the way he pitched last year, and who knows if he would have never turned it around. Like you said it, Sean Manaea, right, found his Oakland days back, the way he was so good as a pitcher. Severino going back to early Yankee years. Like, players are starting to love it here. And don't think players don't talk. Like, players talk to each other. A lot of them have the same agents or same agencies. They talk. And this is the thing talking about, regardless of making the playoffs or not, it's the culture. It's the way you play during the season. It's the talk of other players in the organization. Only last year you heard Tommy Pham talking about the lack of hustle and the lack of, working out and all that other stuff. That's what you heard, right? It's amazing what 1 year can do with different minds behind the scenes, like a David Stearns, a guy who's been successful, the guy that preaches, do your job or somebody will take your spot. That's something that, and then with David Stearns knowing, well, I wouldn't say no, because that's kind of like Houdini, or like, have a crystal ball or something like that. But getting the right guys, and Chris, you said this a couple of weeks ago, getting the right guys on prove it deals, right? I know there's been a couple of, bad ones, but the right ones have been outstanding for us. And is the big reason why we hit win number 80 of the season, is because a lot of these guys, Bader, Shomania, Luis Severino, like, it's those guys that really put David Stearns on another pedestal right now. Now, he has a lot of work to do, but what he's done this year to put this team together, and by the way, it's not just putting the team together in the offseason. It is making minor league moves, doing cash consideration for Eddie Alvarez that already paid dividends and went in one series.
Luis Torrens.
Yes. Right? Making small but necessary trades at the deadline. I know Blackburn's hurt, but a couple of bullpen moves, Maton, Stanek, those have been really important for this team. And of course, Jesse Winker, one of the best bench bats on the market. It's not a big name, but it was a necessity. He got every need, and it shows throughout the rest of the season. And you see it. And it's amazing how crazy things can change, and how much, when you get the right guys that is needed for this team, how things turn around and how things work out for the most part. Now, again, Chris, we can be talking 10 days from now, and the Mets are a few games out of a wild card spot, right? But it just doesn't feel like they're going to let that happen. I got that confidence. And that's only because what they do in a matter of one inning. And I know it's only one inning, and this is the best inning they played all series, but this is a game going to Philadelphia, by the way, that really could make this a really fun last 2.5 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, it's hot in here, man. I don't know if I'm just excited. I need to open a window or something. Oh my goodness, it is.
I got me my electrolytes, man. I'm going nuts right now. I'll tell you.
Hopefully, y'all can't see this through the screen, but I am sweating. I definitely need to take a shower or something. But you know what? Listen, this win, just to get back, like David Stearns, I've been saying this for weeks, if not months, about David Stearns, right? I've always had his back. Again, if you go to the homepage on my YouTube channel, I have a video telling you all exactly why David Stearns is a baseball genius, and he is going to take this team to a next level, right? Whether it's this season or the next season, and just sustainable winning. But you know what? This win, let's talk about this game. Let's get back on track to this game. This win, I want to dedicate to everyone that in all of our preseason streams, our spring training streams, everything, right, told us that this team wouldn't win more games than last year's debacle, than last year's 2023 New York Mets. Because, listen, I didn't take bookmarks and notes of who actually said it. And I'm sure they're changing their tune anyways and getting away with it, which is fine. You can change your tune. You can change your opinion. This is sports. But 85 wins at the beginning of the season for me, 87 for you. And listen, the New York Mets might just eclipse that, especially if you find it within them to produce consistently like we just saw in that ninth inning. If a guy like Francisco Alvarez goes on a tear.
Crazy.
Pete Alonso goes on a tear. Like, they might just eclipse our projections for them, which is insane to think about. So 80th win of the season, right? Just because I remembered, right, that a lot of people in my comment section and all the off-season videos that I did, right, when I made a video about Jose Iglesias, and people were telling me, why are we talking about this move? This is never going to mean anything, right? This goes out to those people. So again, love the Mets fan base, love the Mets community, whether you were a believer back then or not, because I'm sure you are now, at least to some degree. But again, this is a testament, like you said, to David Stearns bringing in the right guys and the right guys making these contributions in game 146, which is what we had in front of us today, right? Jose Iglesias, Ryan Stanek, right? I know he didn't get the job done, but it doesn't really matter with the off day that Edwin Diaz came out there. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really bother me. They got the job done. So I love it. Guys, I'm so freaking hype right now. Chat, what are the vibes like, chat? Let us know.
Let's go.
What are the vibes? Because now we get to relax, right, Rob? We get to relax for the rest of our day. We get to see what the Braves do in Washington. Yeah, yes. Let's go.
Listen, I'm gonna say something Robert Saleh said last year. I'm taking receipts. All right, I am. I'm gonna give everybody in the chat homework. If you didn't watch our video or our live stream, or was it video? Did we do a video live stream of the season preview?
It's live
of our 87 win, my 87 win total, and Chris's 85 win total, and the laughs we got in the comments during the live stream and after the live stream. I want to give you guys homework. Go back and check that out. Even if you were there and you kind of don't remember much. And it's not about calling anybody out or anything like that. It's just showing that we had confidence in this team even before game 1 of the season. Right? I think it was a few days before opening day that we had that season preview. It actually showed confidence in this team. And it started with confidence in David Stern. And, hearing for months, small market Stearns, it wasn't about, there was so much negativity because of last year that people didn't see the vision of 2024. We never predicted that the Mets were going to easily go into the playoffs, right? We just gave our win total. We said we were confident in his team, right? Who knew that it might take between 88 and 90 plus wins to get the third wild card? Because it might be that, right? The Mets might just miss out, or the Mets might just make it by winning 92 games. Again, we got 17 games to go, right? That's how many games we got? 17, right? Let me do the math. 146.
Something like that. Something like that. I'm losing track.
Say 17 games. We're going to go with 17 games. Why not? I'm going to say 17 games. If they go 10-7, right? 16 games. There's 16 games left. If they go 10-6, that's 90 wins. Right? That's only 4 games over 500. Nothing crazy. Right? If they go 11-5, you know the math. You understand what I'm talking about. The fact of the matter is that this team, a lot of people could say they overachieved, but look at all the underachievers on this team as well. That's why it kind of balanced out. If the underachievers, or if the guys that have quote unquote overachieved would have just been what they were previous seasons. Excuse me. My eyes going crazy for a second. Sorry about that. Woo! I'm getting heated now. If the underachievers right now would have been playing to the back of their baseball cards and the overachievers playing the way they did last year, nobody would have really talked about it. Everybody would have been like, oh, look at the guys that are supposed to be doing the job carrying us. But it's been the complete opposite. It's been Nimmo nowhere to be found for 2 months. Alonso the whole season. Like, it's the little things that have really made this so much more exciting, because it's so much unexpected. Oh, I don't want to call it overachieving because that's not fair for the work they put in this season. But the supporting cast, man, holy Christ, the supporting cast. You know, it's been Lindor and the supporting cast. That's what it's been, and it's just so much fun right now. You know, I'm getting hot. Like I'm sweating right now. Like I'm heated. Right, I can't even put the AC up anymore. Like that's how like it's freezing in here. It probably, but I'm not feeling it at all. I'm just pumped right now. Right, I wish we played tomorrow. I want tomorrow. Like, could we play? Let's call Philly. Let's play tomorrow. Let's just show up. You don't have to be on
Yeah.
TV. Just somebody put on a video camera on social media or something. Let's go. Let's get it done. I want to play tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. I
Goddamn
don't want to
Boston.
go through an off day. I don't want to
No,
go through an off day. I don't.
no,
I mean,
having that
I'm
this
sure the
high.
guys will benefit from it. I'm sure the guys will benefit from it, right? And the team will benefit from it. But this is kind of like it has the potential to be a momentum type swing for this
Yep,
team. And
absolutely.
we were worried there for a long time. Again, that one Jose Iglesias double was an extra base hit, their first in the 23 innings prior up until that point, and then they go on another skid, another lull, and it's just like, when is it going to end? And you know what? They strap down. There's the consensus, right? If we had to just condense this post game into like a single statement, is they strapped up when they needed to,
Yep.
led by Francisco Lindor. That is right my synopsis. And again, let's not forget about Sean Manaea. Let's continue to give him the credit he deserves because he made this possible to allow this
Right.
offense and buy them enough time for them to figure it out in the last inning. So again, I'm hyped. Unfortunately, the Diamondbacks, not to bring everyone's mood down, but the Diamondbacks are absolutely destroying the Texas Rangers. But you know what? Like I said, take care of what's in front of you. If you're the New York Mets, worry about the opponents in front of you, win games, and the rest will take care of itself, and the rest will even out. Honestly, I got to go and do some research in terms of this Philly series, in terms of who's going for the New York Mets versus who isn't. I would assume that we're going to see Jose Quintana and Luis Severino. And then
Yeah.
I'm not sure who would round out that rotation. Maybe Tyler McGill again, but I don't know. I'm sure they'll also start to, I guess, maneuver their rotation in a way, depending on what happens with Paul Blackburn as well. I know he's not going in this Phillies series, but we'll monitor his injury situation. They might try to maneuver this rotation in a way to line up the best guys in that Braves series, right? That is fastly approaching. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But again, I'm gonna enjoy today. I'm gonna take the rest of my time today and enjoy this victory. And I think everybody in the chat should as well. This is amazing.
Absolutely, and the roller coaster of emotions today, it takes a lot out of you. I know that for a fact. I've gotten no sleep at all since yesterday, since the live stream. So like since the in-game live, like no sleep at all. So like I'm running on fumes. But I tell you, that woke me the fuck up, man. I tell you, that woke me up. Like oh man, like it's just these games. These games just do something to your body. Like it just jolts you. Like all the energy, like the goosebumps I had when Lindor hit that home run. Like I don't know about you, Chris, but when Lindor hit that home run, I knew we weren't losing. I know we weren't losing.
Me too. That was not an option at that point. That was not an option.
And you know what? That team in the dugout knew they weren't going to lose that game. And that's that's the most important thing, is that as soon as Lindor hit that home run, all that weight lifted off their shoulders. Harrison Beta jumping on the banister and just standing up. Like you just saw the weight just get thrown off them. And hopefully this calms the entire team down. And we're talking about the guys that are struggling. And that's probably one of the last things I want to talk about, is that hopefully it catapults guys like Alonso and Alvarez a little bit. Again, we don't expect them to carry this team for the last 16 games of the season, right? But just show a little bit of life, right? Again, almost a month since Alvarez hit his last home run. Pete Alonso, where he looked foolish on a couple of pitches in that same at bat where he got the sac fly. Actually got the sac fly, where I can assure you nobody was very confident. We were waiting for him to strike out probably and just hope that somebody else would pick up and do some damage. But he got the job done. That's a weight off Alonso's shoulders, because he needed that. We're running with a runner in scoring position. So he got that done. Everything that we were hoping for happened in one inning. You just hope they take it into Philadelphia, which, by the way, Pete Alonso has amazing numbers in Citizens Bank Park. So we hope that helps him go into a ballpark that he has crazy numbers in, and what he did today in the ninth inning. You just hope it just puts him on to the next level. Not all-star, amazing, carry the team, Pete, but how about above average, Pete? Give me that, because we need that. Because I think Lindor is all the way back as he struggled over the last two series. I think Lindor is back because you felt the weight off his shoulders as well, as he felt like he needed to do that. You saw, because I know we talked about it earlier, but that emotion, the emotionless face, that serious face when he hit that ball, showed you that he knew he had to do something great in that moment. He knew he had to do it because he was the only one in that moment that could have done that.
Yeah.
And he knew it. And it just showed on his face when he was rounding the bases.
No, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. One thing that should not go, over anybody's head, by the way, is how good also Reed Garrett is pitching right now.
Yep.
I mean, I know that everyone doesn't want to talk about the bullpen. I know Ryan Stanek kind of, he half got the job done, right? We would prefer if Edwin Diaz didn't get into the game, but we're not kind of like crying over it because tomorrow's an off day, so he gets the rest anyways, and he kind of locks it down for the New York Mets. Carlos Mendoza was taking no chances, right?
Yep.
It was a 6-2 ball game. It was 2 runners on base, and Carlos Mendoza's like, listen, I'm not even giving this guy one more batter. Give me Diaz, because he knows how important these games are at this point. There's no more messing around. You don't leave a guy in for an extra batter unless your name is Sean Manaea, apparently, and it works out for you, right? Because he makes you look like a genius. Like, there's no doing that, especially with the bullpen. No messing around, but Reed Garrett to set that up and to relieve Sean Manaea. And again, this is back-to-back-to-back, right? Maybe even 4 straight outings that Reed Garrett has been very impressive. The off-speed pitches are working. He's energized. And a lot of people, again, fell off or hopped off that Reed Garrett bandwagon. But all it took was him going back into a position in the bullpen where he felt more comfortable. He was never comfortable being the closer when Edwin Diaz went down, right? That was never the spot for him, but he had to do it. And the Mets had to do that to him because they had no other options at the time. Now you're starting to see a more confident Reed Garrett. He knows the guys around him, right? Whoever's going to take the ball after him is going to pick up right where he left off. And it's awesome. And you're seeing, and we're reaping the benefits because of it. So hats off to Reed Garrett. That should not be forgotten. But yeah, this is going to be a very interesting Philly series, Rob. It's going to be very interesting. We got you all covered again through it all. A weekend series. And that's just that. Again, a series win, right? I know a lot of people, or some people, may not buy into that. Every game's a must win. There's no, time for lapses like they had on Sunday or yesterday. But again, I said it yesterday in our chat. If they go out there and win tomorrow, being today, because I said this last night, and they take this series, that's going to be good enough for me to feel good about this team riding in high to the off day. And you know what? I was kind of, worried there for a good bit. If you all paid attention to my post game last night, I was very animated, and I do apologize because I do not want to talk about the Mets in this magical season in that light. But they rubbed me the wrong way last night in terms of the offense. And I was fully prepared to do the same thing, as were you, on this post game until we saw that 9th inning. Because it was frustrating this entire game. This is my final thoughts here. It was frustrating for me to watch this game because they were steadily getting better contact on Bowden Francis, right? Yeah. They were hitting the ball on the nose. Harrison Bader had one that I was like, that's for sure going out. And the guy catches at the warning track, right? Again, like I mentioned before, Lindor, Nimmo, JD Martinez, like they were roping baseballs off of Bowden Francis, but it just so happened that they were right at the outfielders, and it was bad luck.
Absolutely.
So that was what the most infuriating part of that game was to me, but they come through, and that's all that matters. I appreciate you all. Again, this is my final thoughts. Off day stream tomorrow. I'm going live with a special guest at 8:30, just so you all are aware. So an off day stream tomorrow. Please subscribe to both channels. Hit that thumbs up. It definitely helps us out in terms of growing the stream. We will be here for you all as much as possible, as our schedules allow, for pre-games, post-games, in-games, all that good stuff, episodes in between, right? We are not going anywhere, so make sure you come on and join the journey along for the ride, because both of our chat sections, right, the chats, the people who vote in the live polls, everybody that shows up for us, Rob, on a consistent basis, on a daily basis, when we do this content, it makes it that much more fun, and we definitely appreciate the support. Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it. Let's go Mets. W's in the chat, baby. W's.
Absolutely. And Todd just put in the chat, on 9/11, Mets sent 11 runners to the plate in the ninth. That's a little craziness. A little bit
That's
of
crazy.
It is. That's an awesome comment, Todd, by you. And listen, guys, if you're watching or listening on X, please make sure, because there's a ton of people watching on X right now on both channels. Please make sure to head over to the stream. The link is in that stream, in that comment section right there. Make sure you come over, support the channel, hit that like button, and subscribe to both of the channels, because we know we got a ton of fans on X that usually don't go onto YouTube. But if you don't mind, please, quick second, click that link, subscribe to the channels, and make sure you tune into all the shows as well for the rest of the season and hopefully into the playoffs. And I'm doing a Mets Talk Live tomorrow on the off day. I'm going to have a guest on as well, so make sure you tune in. I'm not sure at the time. I know there's going to be a lot of Mets content creators having shows tomorrow, so, we don't want to step on anybody's toes, each other's toes for times and all that, so it's going to get all worked out time-wise. But how about that? Every hour you might have a Met show on YouTube. How about that?
It's going to be a fun day.
It's going to be a fun night, especially after today's awesome comeback win by the New York Mets, almost getting no hit, but Lindor said, hell no. And then the rest of the team followed him like the leader he is and said hell no as well. And they did it. They got the series win. They didn't deserve the series win the way they played, but they got it anyway. Signs of a good team, signs of a team that doesn't lay down and continue to fight. And we're going to Philadelphia on Friday, 4-3. And these games are so important. Obviously, we're not telling you anything you guys don't know. But make sure, guys, to continue to support, continue to show up to the streams. Everyone who's been supporting us from the beginning, from almost every day this season, we appreciate it. Continue to support. Let's go Mets, guys. Thank you for tuning into the Mets Postgame Show. Mets win 62 and get number 80th win of the season, and we're looking for more. Licking our chops. Want more. We're out for blood. Philly, you are next. Let's go Mets, guys. Have a great night. Enjoy the off day tomorrow. Enjoy all the Mets shows tomorrow on YouTube. We'll see you next time, guys. Have a great night.
Let's go Mets.